I'd like to propose something. Now, if you are watching this and you have heard of anybody doing this before me, please can you let me know, because I'd love to go read their work or listen to what they have to say. But as far as I can tell, nobody's doing it yet. I'm not sure why. But anyway, let me get into it. So, if you are familiar with Golden Dawn practices, specifically the Four Adorations, and also Crowley's Liber Vel Resh, where you are invoking the particular gods, but it's a recognition of the path of the sun. So you follow the sun going through the day, and the four adorations are obviously 4 times during the day. So morning, noon, evening, or when the sunrise, noon, sunset, and then midnight. So it's you recognize the 4 stations of the sun during the day. Now, obviously, with this, it's a bit more than just recognizing the sun, and how it progresses during the day. It's a lot more than that. There's obviously the recognition of the wheel of the year and the wheel of life. So as the sun rises in the east, that's your birth, and it's also spring. And then when it reaches its zenith, depending on which hemisphere you're in, if you're in the northern hemisphere, then it'll be in the south. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you'll be facing the north. But that's midday, and that's when you reach middle age, when you reach your prime of your life, really. And then moving into the west, where the sun goes down and gets quenched by the water, that's old age and moving into death, and it's autumn. And then the sun travels in the underworld, and that would therefore be winter and the ancestral realm, and then doing a full cycle and coming back to rebirth. So there's a lot of mystical aspects to why we do this, why we follow the path of the sun, and you study this and carry on going for quite a long time, looking into all the different traditions, all the different paths, all the different beliefs, and how people of antiquity followed the sun and the cycles that happened. But as I say, if you follow Golden Dawn, you've got the Four Adorations. If you follow Crowley's work, then you've got Liber Vel Resh, which is the same thing, really. And with each quarter, with each station of the day, you recognize a particular god, you thank them, etc., etc. So what I wanted to do, what I've started doing, sorry, itchy eye, I need some coffee. It's early in the morning, my nose is stuffed again. I had a cold 2 weeks ago. I just can't get rid of this. Plus I've now got to give up smoking, because with the lockdown I can't go buy any more smokes. So it is time to give up smoking. But what I've started doing is the same thing, but from a demonic perspective. So it would be the Four Daemonic Adorations. So, with the 4 stations of the day, what I'll face that direction. So yeah, I'm also doing runic stances whilst I'm doing intoning the N. So for instance, in the east, now my directions are a bit different to most other people's directions. I do follow a more traditional witchcraft perspective in this, where I have fire in the east instead of air. I then move round to the north, because I'm in the southern hemisphere, which is the zenith of the sun, so that would be noon. And here I have earth, which, fire in the east represents the sun rising. It's the position of Lucifer, where the light bringer comes in and brings the knowledge. It's the horn god with the flame betwixt the horns. A whole lot of representation there. And then we move into the north for me, and that's the position of Earth. Because this is midday, it's the hottest time of the day, and it's Earth as in the rolling green fields and the lush forests, the place of Pan really, but Pan is more the aspect of all for me. Other people may have God, other people may have Satan, that All-Father really, Odin for instance, but Pan for me is the Pangenitor. He's the creator of everything. Therefore Pan envelops all of the elements and the whole cycle. So in the position of north, which is Earth for me, I'm placing Belial. And then we go into the west, which is still water, and there we've got Ashtaroth. I know a lot of people place Ashtaroth in usually the fire position, but for me Ashtaroth has come across as very sexual, very passionate, but she's also her focus with me is more in the realm of divination, and for me this feels more watery. She's also a warrior goddess, and so it just feels more. Placing her in the west is just it feels more in line with what I do. So as I say, some people place her in the fire position. I've got her in the water position because that's where she wants to be. That's where she wants to be in my circle. And then in the south, for me, as I said again, I'm in the southern hemisphere, so this is the coldest part. This is when the sun is travelling in the underworld. Here is placed air. In traditional witchcraft, it's the position of the ancestors. It's the silver castle, and this is where air is placed. There's also a recognition of the four winds or the eights. There's a whole lot of representation that goes into this, but I don't want to get into that now because this is about the adorations. So what I'm doing is, okay, so in the east you have the runic stances. In the east I'm doing Kornaz. In the north with earth, it's Jera. In the west with water is Laguz, and in the south with air is Hagalaz. So those are the four runes used for the four elements and the four directions. So what I'll do, I'll stand in the runic position, and then I'll intone the demonic end for that particular god, deity, demon in that position, and then I'll end with just a short invocation of Pan. It's just EO Pan, and sometimes I'll use EOA. There's just an intonation for Pan itself. So yeah, so that's my proposition. Let's have a look. I'd like some comments and suggestions and thoughts on this. Really, what do you guys think of doing the Four Daemonic Adorations? I mean, if you follow like Decante hierarchy, then you'll place Lucifer in the east with air. You'll place Flerius in the position of fire, whether that's north or south for you, at noon, and then Leviathan in the west with water, when the sun's setting, and then Belial in the opposite position, in the earth position. That's the opposite position to Flerius, obviously. depending on what hemisphere you're working in. So those would be the 4 adorations during the day. Just an idea I came up with, something I came up with that felt like I should be doing it, and so I'd try and get some feedback on it. And that's it. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching the Sunday Soapbox.